And I quickly want to bring into this conversation India Today and Aaj Tak's news director Rahul Kanwal, who's been tracking all developments on this story very, very closely. Rahul, the BJP calls this a poll gimmick. The Congress party has called it a natak. Sandeep Dikshit called it a natak. But what do you make of this decision? How is this being looked at? Is this, in a way, Arvind Kejriwal taking a step back, put his party together once again for the next poll battle?
Gaurav, there was a high-level briefing by top government sources just a short while before now, where I had an opportunity to ask a question on the decision of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal to resign a couple of days from now. So the thinking at the top level of the BJP seems to be that this is a rather belated decision. They feel that he should have done this when he was asked to go to jail for the first time, and they're saying better late than never on the issue of whether elections should be held in November, along with Jharkhand and along with Maharashtra, as was demanded by the Aam Aadmi Party. They said, well, please tell Arvind Kejriwal that that's a decision for the Election Commission to take. The government has no view on this. It's really something that the Election Commission decides, and surely someone like a Kejriwal must know that. But they're thinking, they don't think it makes much of a difference. They think he's playing a political game, and they're saying, bring it on. So that's really the thinking as far as top-level sources in the BJP are concerned, Gaurav.
Okay, so they think that it's a political game being played, but this comparison that he draws, between Bhagat Singh and Batukeshwar Dutt, and saying, both he and Manish Sisodia were kept in different prison cells, not permitted to meet each other. This is worse than what the British were. All of this aimed at just Delhi or Haryana and Punjab once again, where the Aam Aadmi Party hopes to perhaps stem the decline, as many call it?
Gaurav, the most immediate political context is what happens in Haryana, where Kejriwal's release on bail is really a double-edged sword for the opposition. The more he campaigns in Haryana over the next few days, as the Aam Aadmi Party is planning, the more he could potentially cut the anti-BJP, the anti-government vote. The AAP's calculation, or their hope, the opposition alliance's hope, is that there is a high degree of transferability between the AAP voter and the BJP voter, which we've seen in the assembly elections of Delhi, that those who vote in the Lok Sabha elections for the BJP, about 1/3 of them switch to the Aam Aadmi Party in the assembly context, which is how AAP wins in Delhi in the assembly. Will the same happen in Haryana? No one can be quite sure, because there is a BJP vote. We saw it at about 44% in the assembly in the Lok Sabha elections. There is a Congress vote, which is 44% plus 3% of the Aam Aadmi Party, because they fought in Kurukshetra. Now, does Kejriwal's campaign really split the anti-BJP vote like we saw in Gujarat, where the BJP ultimately ended up winning very big because AAP took away some of the anti-BJP votes? If that happens, it's to the BJP's advantage in a tough election. If, however, that doesn't happen, and if BJP loses some vote, because, to some extent, this Banya voter, there is a certain commonality between the voter of the AAP and the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. So if they take away the BJP voter, then in a tough election, it gets even tougher for the BJP. So that's really, the jury's out. You can't really in advance know. And as we've seen with the Lok Sabha election, there are certain things you only find out in hindsight, but that really makes it, had it been an AAP Congress alliance and Kejriwal had 15 odd days to go and campaign, it would make life very difficult for the BJP in what is already a tough election. But that alliance hasn't so far gone through, unless there is some change of heart later. And in the absence of that, the BJP will fancy their chances, saying the more Kejriwal campaigns, the better it is for them.
Okay. Preeti Chaudhary also joins us on this special broadcast. But Rahul, if I could continue this conversation with you in Delhi. 48 hours later, Arvind Kejriwal will put in his papers and the party MLAs will decide a new leader. Some in the BJP seem to indicate that he's seeking 48 hours because he wants to convince MLAs to get Sunita Kejriwal in. But within the Aam Aadmi Party, the buzz is it could well be Atishi Marlena. Anything that you're picking up? And Preeti, that question to you after Rahul in just a moment. But Rahul, go ahead.
If he picks Sunita Kejriwal as his replacement, it will be the most foolish thing to do, because this is a party that was drawn out of a movement where part of their focus was on anti-dynastism. And therefore, if you pick your own wife and you're around, it's going to backfire. And I think Kejriwal is smart. He knows that. Whether they pick Atishi, Atishi has a mind of her own. She's not really someone who's too fawning of any one person. She's a smart, independent woman with a mind of her own. Will they pick her or will they pick somebody else? I think let the Aam Aadmi Party go through the motions on that, because the fact is, no matter whether he is CM officially or not, he will be super CM, right? In some ways, like a Balasaheb Thackeray was for the Shiv Sena government in Maharashtra. Whether he's on the chair or not, he will be super CM. Decisions will be run past him. He's kind of freeing himself up to be able to campaign. He's also then giving himself the opportunity to tell voters that I wasn't CM, I wasn't allowed to function. So you kind of wash your hands or attempt to wash your hands off the anti-incumbency that's built up. So that's the way Kejriwal sees it. He's been in jail for 153 days. So he's obviously got to have had an opportunity to think through these issues. He's got a playbook which is ready and they intend to roll it out now.
Now, when we talk of the Aam Aadmi Party playbook, this is exactly what Arvind Kejriwal had said in the run-up to Lok Sabha elections. Jail ka badla, vote. And as far as the Lok Sabha elections are concerned, Rahul, clearly that strategy did not work. BJP was 7-0. The Aam Aadmi Party wasn't able to make a dent. What may work for the Aam Aadmi Party in the assembly elections?
I think in this assembly election, the status of the Congress is really what will decide whether the Aam Aadmi Party comes back to power or the BJP is able to win. The better the Congress does, the worse it is for the Aam Aadmi Party. Ultimately, the Muslim vote, the Basti vote, the Dalit vote, which is now been with the Aam Aadmi Party for the last two assembly elections, was a vote originally of the Congress Party. And we've seen there's been some kind of a revival in the Congress's fortunes pan-India when it comes to Dalits, Muslims, and the poor. And therefore, if that extends to Delhi and the Congress bounces back, it's advantage BJP, because in the mid-30s, the BJP's assembly vote share has been pretty constant. So if it becomes a triangle, the reason the AAP won was because the Congress just collapsed. They lost their vote bank. Across categories, their vote bank shrank dramatically. But that time also, Sheila Dikshit had been in power for 3 years,
Yes,
3 terms. So it was 3 terms of anti-incumbency. Now, as the AAP has been performing over the last 10 years, people will have a view on it. If these voters start gravitating back to the Congress's fold, it's advantage, frankly, BJP. Congress won't be strong enough to win, but it will be strong enough to damage the Aam Aadmi Party prospects very seriously. I think the AAP realized that, which is why they were attempting this alliance in Haryana, which didn't go through. And now that the AAP is in government in Delhi and the Congress is on a bounce back trail, the chances of an alliance are even lesser in the context of the elections in the capital, Gaurav.